Hi there, welcome to Cello Tuesdays. I'm Diane Chaplin. I play this live stream the first Tuesday of every month. And if you're used to watching live, you will notice that I have now changed the time to 6 p.m. Pacific. You can always watch it afterwards. So if you want to watch it anytime, as soon as it's broadcast, you can find it on all the various platforms. I have a few notices before I start the program. If you're watching in the Portland area and it's the first week of November, please come hear me play the Donald Appert Cello Concerto on Sunday, November 6th. You can find the info on my webpage. Also, if you're in the Portland area, Portland Cello Project is playing at Revolution Hall, a brand new winter show, December 11th. And if you're in Alaska, come hear Portland Cello Project play December 2nd or 3rd in Anchorage. Today's program is called Saints and Spirits and refers to this time of year, October 31st, November 1st, where we get Halloween and then we get All Saints Day. And there are also some ancient holidays like Samhain, which is, I don't know, I'm going to just go with that spell, that pronunciation, the ancient Gaelic Celtic festival upon which many of the Halloween customs are built. And all of these things are about dealing with the fact that the days are getting shorter. We're entering the period of darkness and cold. We're about halfway between the start of fall and the start of winter, and kind of acknowledging that there's lots of night, and that's the time when the spirits come out. So I'm going to start with a piece called Old Mormon Songs, written by the Romanian cellist and composer Ștefan Nikifor. He wrote this in 2004. He based this piece on a book of songs by Austin and Alta Fife called Saints of Sage and Saddle, Folklore Among the Mormons. And they did a lot of research on old songs from the late 19th century, early 20th century that were sung by the Mormons or depicted the Mormons, and a couple cases anti-Mormon songs. But there's this big collection of historical songs from this time period. A lot of them have a kind of cowboy sound, patriotic Americana sound, kind of parlor music, a little bit of barbershop quartet, because they are songs from 100 and more years ago for the most part. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste in the chat a list of the songs with some information about what they sort of sound like, so that if you want to try to track what song I'm on, great, okay, it should be there. If you're on a platform that gets chat, you have your list of songs. I'm going to go through them as quickly as I can and tell you a little bit about them. The first one is Tittery Eerie A. This would have been sung on the handcart journey, and you can hear the difficulty coming across the plains with oxen and these handcarts that they were pushing all their stuff on. This is a trudging, slow kind of a song. Some of the lyrics are, "Oh, of logs we build our houses, of dirt we have for floors, of sods we build our chimney, and shakes we have for doors. Some men have got a dozen wives, and others have a score, and the man that's got but one wife's a-looking out for more." Next is the Utah Iron Horse, which is a song about the railroad. "Saints will come, sinners too. We'll have all that we can do. For this great Union Railroad, it will fetch the devil through." Next is a sad song in which a cowboy remembers the death of his partner, Utah Carroll. This is followed by something that some people call the real handcart song, "Ye saints who dwell on Europe's shore." "To leave behind your native land, for sure God's judgments are at hand, and with the faithful make a start to cross the plains in your handcart." Next is a song, I'm not going to tell you the lyrics to this song. This is called In the Midst of These Awful Mormons, and you can imagine this is one of the many anti-Mormon songs that arose during this time, and you know, maybe sort of understandable that these folks who'd been settled on this land all of a sudden were being overrun by a religious sect who took claim to it, so there was some anti-Mormon sentiment going on at that time. Next is a kind of uplifting march called "Did You Ever Hear Tell of the Spider?" And this is a motivational song about working really hard, just like a spider building a web. Next is the Boozer. I hear a little bit of how dry I am in this song. It's definitely the barbershop quartet sounding song. Here are some of the lyrics. It's an anti-drinking song. I'm the double-jawed hyena from the east. I'm the blazing, bloody blizzard of the states. I'm the celebrated slugger. I'm the beast. So don't drink. Next is followed by a kind of cute march called the United Order. And this song comes from a time when there was an attempt to initiate a kind of communal idea of life as a Mormon, that you wouldn't own personal property, the church would own all the stuff, and everyone would share it communally. And this was not an idea that worked out, but we still have a song about it. Next is, Oh, We Are Volunteers in the Army of the Lord. This features a technique called ricochet, where you throw your bow at the string and it bounces. So you'll notice that one. And then the very last one's called St. George and the Dragon, which is a kind of a little tongue-in-cheek reference to the classic St. George with his dragon. But this is about kind of the fighting the dragon to build this town, because St. George was an early Mormon settlement town. And some of the lyrics to that go, mesquite, soaproot, prickly pears, and briars. St. George ere long will be a place everyone admires. So this is Old Mormon Songs by Sherban Nikifor. songs by Sherbant Nikifor. It's fun. I like playing that. Next on the program is a piece by the Russian-born composer Sofia Gubaidulina. She was born and raised in the Soviet Union, and as such existed in this very restrictive social and artistic environment. And for her, both music and religion became an escape from just living in the Soviet Union. She associated music with human transcendence and mystical spiritualism. In 1974, she wrote 10 preludes for solo cello, and they're each based on a different technique on the instrument. This one I'm going to play is number 7, and in particular, it is said that the motions that one has to make with the bow arm in order to play the bowings that she wrote draw out the sign of the cross in some way. So if you can figure that out and let me know where you see that, that would be great, because I can't exactly find it, but I have read that this is one of the intentions there, and that's very much of how she writes. She imbues her music with spiritualism and with various religious connotation because she feels that music is really the way the soul speaks. So this is prelude number 7, which is called Al tacco da punta d'arco, which means from the frog, the bottom of the bow, to the point of the bow. That was prelude number 7 by Sofia Gubaidulina. I think at the end, that's probably the music carrying up to heaven. That's often when we hear that kind of upward motion in a piece that has some sort of spiritual significance. That's what that refers to. So the last and biggest piece on the program is a piece by the German romantic composer Hugo Becker. The piece was written in 1919, but even though that seems like 20th century, he is still definitely a romantic composer. The name of the piece is Aus dem Leben des Waldschrat, which is obviously German, and in English that means from the life of the hobgoblin is how I'm going to translate that. Waldschrat is a little bit difficult to translate, depending on when it was used. It can mean forest sprite, forest gremlin, but the hobgoblin actually in older usage is not scary. The hobgoblin is an imp or a sprite, so I like the word hobgoblin. I'm going with that. There are 5 movements in this piece, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to, before each movement, tell you the story of the movement, because it's very programmatic. There's definitely a story that goes along with the music. The first movement is called Waldraunen, which means forest murmurs or whispers. And in this movement, we have our protagonist, our hobgoblin, just enjoying life. He's in the forest where he lives. He's kind of hanging around, maybe taking a walk, sometimes sitting and just enjoying the sunlight dappling through the trees, the sound of the wind in the leaves. This is the murmurs of the forest, the whispers of the forest, listening to the babbling brook, listening to the birds twittering, and just really having a good time. And I think you can hear some of the whooshiness of the wind and the brook and the birds in the kind of swirly motions that we get through a lot of this piece. So this is the Fantasy Suite by Hugo Becker, first movement, Forest Murmurs. The second movement of this fantasy suite by Hugo Becker is called Beim Bergriesen, in the home of the mountain giant. So now our hobgoblin goes about maybe looking for a little bit of trouble, and he comes upon the cave of the mountain giant. And we hear at the beginning this music that sounds very slow, low, slumbery. I'm putting my mute on right now, which gives it a more muffled sound. And the mountain giant's just kind of minding his own business. He's sort of snoozing in his cave, lying around, and the hobgoblin comes in and starts annoying him. And you will hear this contrast between the low giant music and then this sort of annoying, flittering, quick music that is the hobgoblin annoying the mountain giant. So this goes on for a bit, and suddenly a hunting party comes by outside the cave, and they stop at the entrance to the cave, and they play their merry hunting music. They're out there having a great time, kind of just partying it up. They fade off into the distance. The mountain giant tries to go back to sleep, and the hobgoblin starts annoying him again. And finally, the mountain giant can't take it any longer. He chases the hobgoblin, grabs him, and throws him out of the cave. This is the second movement of the Fantasy Suite by Hugo Becker. with the hobgoblin thrown out of the cave of the mountain giant, he wanders off and comes to a lake where he finds a water nymph. This next movement is called nymphs und Waldschrat, water nymph and hobgoblin. And he falls instantly in love with her and starts trying to woo her. He plays for her the Schaum, which is a kind of outdoor ancient oboe with a really sort of direct, not an indoor instrument kind of sound. And the way that the composer depicts this, you'll hear it right at the very beginning of this movement. The composer depicts this by going high up on the lower strings of the instrument to make a sort of slightly choked sound, possibly. Then we hear this fast, flickering, twittering kind of music, and this is the water nymph who is teasing and flirting with the hobgoblin. She's sort of appreciating his admiration of her and flirting with him, and he becomes very emboldened by this and starts leaping about. And you'll hear this in the music, these big block chords that happen. This is him showing his virility by leaping about. Suddenly, the sisters of the water nymph start doing a water ballet. They start doing a round dance. And this is in the center of this movement, a kind of a lilting, slower, beautiful melody. When they're done with their dance, we go back to the water nymph flitting about and teasing the hobgoblin, and she finally gets kind of tired of this because she's not really interested in him after all. And you'll hear at the very end this cascading as she dives under the water and disappears from view. This is Nymphs und Waldschrat by Hugo Becker. So the hobgoblin has been thoroughly rejected by the water nymph. And this next movement is called Longing in Vain, where he basically just wallows in his sorrow of his lost love. This is the fourth movement, and I'm going to go right into the last movement, which is called Im Sturm, in the storm. And this is a depiction of both the emotional storm raging inside the hobgoblin and a storm in the forest. But I think my interpretation of this storm is that it's basically saved by the arrival of the hunting party, which makes it a kind of a happy storm. I think they save the day. So this is the fourth movement and fifth movement, Longing in Vain and The Storm, from the Fantasy Suite by Hugo Becker. And thus ends the life of the hobgoblin. I think he ended happy. He ended with a party. Join me the first Tuesday of December for a program called La Folia. This is a very, very famous ancient tune that lots and lots of composers have written variations on. I'm going to play variations by 4 cellist composers on that same tune, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. I hope to see you then. I am not gonna look a couple at there's a lot of comments, so I always go afterwards and I look at the comments, so I'm maybe not gonna say hi everybody, thank you so much. I see bunches of my cello friends. Thank you so much, guys, for coming. You're right, it was a workout. Only Jennifer's comment. Yes. See you next month. Bye.